Greetings everyone, welcome to Advanced, and this is a game from the Olympiad. And with the white pieces we have Quang Liem, and with the black pieces we have the current world number one, highest rated player ever, one of the best 5 times world champion. We have Magnus Carlsen, and he's playing from Norway, and this is Norway versus China, and Magnus is just playing spectacular chess in Olympiad as usual. So without further ado, let's start with this game because this game features an amazing tactic that you're going to be really scratching your head to solve. So here just d4 was played by Quang Liem, and now just knight to f6, c4, e6, and knight to f3. We go into the Indian game, or Eastern Indian, or anti-names of variation, whatever you want to call it. We have d5, knight to c3, c6, and just bishop to g5. We go into semi-Slav defense, also something called anti-Miran gambit. But these names are absolutely unnecessary. Semi-Slav defense is absolutely fine. Knight bd7, we have e3, h6, bishop to h4, and just bishop to e7. And we have rook to c1, castles a3, and now just a6. Just going for a very solid setup because Magnus knows that he has to win it for Norway this game, so that his country can take a lead. We have c captures, and now just going for queen to c2, knight back to e8, asking for a bishop trade, and Magnus just avoids it by going for this bishop, and Quang Liem just avoids it by going for this bishop to g3. Bishop to d6 by Magnus, asking for this trade one more time so that he can get this knight here, and these squares are looking very juicy for the knight. Bishop to d3 was played, but now this bishop captures, h captures, knight d2 f6, and just knight to e5, just centralizing that knight. Very nice move, no issues whatsoever. Knight to d6, but now just comes f3. F3 might seem like a weakening move because you're just maybe weakening this g3 pawn, but you can always push. And you have to understand that the king is going to be very safe here on f2, and you don't have to worry about anything in this position. Rook to e8 was played, knight to e2, knight d7, rook to h5. Rook to h5 is a very nice move, trying to get the rook into the game, and Quang Liem in general is a very solid player. And here Magnus goes for f6. Like, you've pushed f3. I mean, I have to push f6. It's just the rule here in this position. But f6 actually sets up a very deadly trap because not only pushes the knight away, but it pushes it has some other variations as well. Knight caps on d7 was played. Bishop captures, king to f2, and now just comes f5, just pushing it all the way, nullifying this bishop's influence. And Magnus is saying, if you want to take the pawn, just take the pawn, but you're gonna have to give up your very strong light squared bishop. And Quang Liem avoids this because he wants to beat Magnus, obviously. Rook to e1 was played by Quang Liem, but in this position there's a very beautiful tactic. And if you think of yourself as Capablanca, and if you know what that means, I think you would be able to maybe just find this. So scratch your brains, just claw it out and find the best move in this position. Have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is this beautiful rook captures on e3. That's right, king captures, and now a very nice check, hitting the rook very nicely. Here king captures was played by Quang Liem. I think he completely missed that, and now you lose a very nice central pawn. I think that was required for the defense of your king as well, and it's not a good thing. Queen to e8, but now it nicely connects with the rook, and Magnus is just simply up a pawn. And many times we've seen Magnus being up a pawn, and if you look at this position, you have to understand just how crazy the position was. The pawn was up for grabs, and now if you look at this position, that pawn is not only defending but queen is infiltrating, and your position is just gone from decent to worse. And this is what happens. The position is not lost for Quang Liem, but the position is just a little tough, and he had a better position, and now he was thinking that I just lost a pawn and the queen is there. The knight and the bishop suddenly seem so amazing. The pawn is defended, the rook is getting into the game, and what have I just done? Have I just lost the game? And that's the thing that gets you into your head, and that is exactly the Magnus effect. Because here queen to c5 was played, queen to g6, queen to b6, now queen to f6, and now just queen to c7. Magnus infiltrates with the queen, and it's difficult to find the correct ideas in these types of situations. But here bishop is under attack and you have to move it. So bishop to e8 was played, but just knight to e4. The knight is a beautiful piece there. The bishop is already eyeing, queen is already infiltrating. Quang Liem is playing it to perfection, but again, it's Magnus, and you have to be just a little extra careful, because in this position Magnus sets up a very beautiful thing. He plays rook to c8, and now you must be like, what is this rook to c8? What does it even do? There is nothing that it's doing, but that's how he gets into your head, Magnus, because the best move in this position is just to go back. I mean, you cannot infiltrate forever. This pawn is protected, this is defended by the other pawn. Bishop is covering all of these squares, queen is covering all of this, and there is no way you can infiltrate further. You have to go back, stay there on b6, don't allow ever b5 to be played, and just wait your turn. maybe, just maybe, somewhere along the line, Magnus makes an inaccuracy due to time pressure or some other reasons, and then you strike. But here in this position, Le Liem thought that, I, I can just sacrifice the queen against Magnus and I can make an immortal. And he went for queen captures on c8, and this is just not going to work out, because here, if you had gone for a queen to b6, maybe a move like bishop to f7, just not allowing rook jumps, and here after king to f1 you play rook to 8. King to f1 is an important move because you can understand that this is being attacked. Whenever the queen moves away from this diagonal, that pawn will not be defended, and whenever the capture comes, that will come with a check on the king. So king to f1 is a very nice prophylactic move in this position. You don't want to go g1 because that idea still exists. But here after rook captures, bishop captures, the position is very fine. I mean, both players, it's fine for both the players. It could still lead to a draw, and most likely draw would be the most optimum result, because the pawn structure is, for Magnus it's good. Magnus is up a pawn, but yeah, it doesn't matter if you're up a pawn in this position, because most likely it's going to end in a draw. But here after rook, rook to c8, queen captures on c8, and Quang Liem, in the hopes of making an immortal against Magnus, just really forgot that it's just completely losing if he goes for this. Knight captures, rook captures on e8, rook to e8 check, king to f7, and just rook caps on c8, and now you have absolutely nothing. And here queen captures on d4 was played, just hitting the bishop, give with the check, and it is currently defended, but this is coming, so you have to be very much careful. King to f1, but just g5 by Magnus, and there is only one way to actually go for this without actually losing the material, which is rook to f8 check. And rook to f8 check, with the idea that if you capture, then that comes in with a very beautiful royal fork, and then you're just completely losing. Obviously Magnus is not going to fall for such tricks. He plays king to e7, but now just comes knight to e6 check, and knight has moved successfully, and it's also defending the rook, and the bishop is going to move next. But he forgot one thing in this position, which is after king to d6, bishop caps on f5, queen caps on b2, and there is a 4-1 advantage towards the queen side, with the queen about to grab the last pawn as well. It will be 4-0, and although you have 3 pieces for the queen, which is considered to be okay, your pawns are not pushing as fast as blacks, and king is absolutely safe. There is no dark square. Bishop knight is not that helpful in this position, and you're just completely going to be losing him. So here Quang Liem goes for f4, which just completely adds to the misery. Instead, rook to d8 was a bit better, because after king to c5 you play rook to d7, just try and maybe force Magnus to take this, and maybe he makes a blunder thinking that the position is completely winning, but then you would have some issues. But here after a5, I mean, obviously Magnus is going to see all of this, and there is just no way. There's just no way Magnus can lose this endgame. This is just completely winning. But here after f4, queen caps on a3 was played, but now just comes this king to f2, a5, knight to e5, and now just comes this a4, rook to f7, and here queen to b2 check, king goes back, queen to b5 check, and in this position Le Quang Liem defended with this bishop to d3, which seems like a nice move because it's defended by the knight. But then you have to understand that it was never about attacking the queen, because queen can always, somewhere along the line, queen can always deliver some sort of checks and just push the pawn. It was about not letting the king escape, because if you had defended with this, you have to understand that all of this is covered, and king has to take a d2 to be able to get to get to safety once you move the rook away. So I think that was a little bit better, but the position is absolutely lost. I mean, there is no hope in this position, but still you have to try out some tricks, otherwise you just completely lost. Here bishop to d3 was played, but just queen to b3, bishop to f5, now just comes a3, knight to d3 was played, trying to do something, but here just queen cap. Just, I mean, this is just very, 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 very disrespectful. And here after bishop captures is a2, and there is no way you could reach to that on time. Here a rook caps on b7 was played, but just a1 queen, and now king moves, and queen to g1 was played, but was also on this move that Quang Liem resigned the game, and Magnus Carlsen got this spectacular victory in the FIDE Olympiad. And yeah, this is just spectacular.